Good morning to you. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the Take for Market Rebellion. And here we are. It's hump day. And I'll tell you what, if you want volatility, you want a lot of news and catalysts that moves things around, you're in the right place. That's exactly what's been going on for the last 3, 4, or 5 trading sessions. And it continues today. But if we go back to yesterday, just for a moment, you take a look at the catalysts yesterday. You obviously had more concerns about the variant. That started to perk up a little bit again. And obviously, Jay Powell and some of the conversation there about what they're going to be doing with the tapering. So that combination suddenly turned into something that was bigger than it started. As a matter of fact, the market started off weak. They just got a heck of a lot weaker. And then we continued to sell off throughout the day. Matter of fact, holding sort of in that area of being down about 600 points, finished the day down about 650 on the Dow, finished the day down about 250 on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ actually at one point in time, very early in the day, I think it happened actually in this first hour that we do here with the Take, it was actually into the green and then tipped over and then just continued to accelerate to the downside. So when you see something like that, you know the volatility is going to be there. The volatility was there, 23 up towards 29 yesterday for the VIX. Didn't get up to 30, but we got awfully close. And here we are, we actually closed out the day up about 18%, around 27 where the VIX got to. Now, just remember, it wasn't too terribly long ago we were analyzing this, we were looking and we were seeing the VIX as it was moving in a fairly tight range, but moving upward in that range and just moving up 17 to 19, 18 to 20, that whole thing, it absolutely exploded over the last couple of sessions. And of course, 27, pretty high number. We'll see if we get anywhere close to that over the next couple of days. And obviously there is a lot of catalysts out there, continues to be catalysts out there, including today. We had crude just absolutely tipping over. It was down about 4% yesterday in the 66 range. And that was something that certainly had an effect. As a matter of fact, when you take a look over at the energy names, they have been directly tied to the crude, more so than I can ever recall. And they are directly, whether it's the beta names or the big names, the Chevrons and the Exxons, they all, unfortunately, when a day like that, they definitely see that pressure. The 10-year also under some pressure, dropping all the way down to about a 144 reading. So you see the crude moving down, you see that moving down, you see the VIX moving up, and you see some of the pressure that's coming in on the Dow and the acceleration. It really does all piece together. As a matter of fact, energy yesterday finished down on the day about 2.5%. Every single sector closed in the red yesterday. We got a little bit of a different market today. We'll get into that in a second. And most everything was down significantly, tech being the best performer, and that's because it was only down 1%. But you look across, financials down close to 2.5%, semiconductors down significantly. But when I say that about technology, one of the reasons for that is, what was the best performer yesterday? I know we always focus on the negative because it's down 600 points, but Apple up 3%. That's a pretty significant move for Apple, number one. Number two, it's an incredibly significant move when you consider the fact that the rest of the market is absolutely going down, 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 and yet Apple closes near the highs of the session. So gives you a little bit of an idea. As a matter of fact, yesterday we had a huge volume day again, 46.5 million contracts trading yesterday. Apple, yes, once again, 3.3 million contracts. Tesla, about 1.2 million. And then everybody else. That was the only 2 names that actually were over 1 million contracts. So that's really spreading it out across the entire market place. It's just incredible to see 46 million contracts and only 2 names actually in that million contract sort of a category. Nucor, that was getting hit pretty hard yesterday. We talk about some of the materials and some of the materials they meet. That move to the upside seems like it's a step up and oftentimes can be about 2 steps down. That was sort of what we were looking at yesterday. Nucor was down about 5%. Gap Stores down about 7% yesterday. I mentioned energy. Of course, all those beta names were getting slammed. Chinese names as well. When you look at names like PDD, JD, Billy, and Baba, and some of those names, all to the downside yesterday. So we wake up today, come in, got more catalysts, of course. We're getting past the uncertainty of yesterday. It happens really quickly. And suddenly you're looking at the markets up over 300 plus points, 350 points in the pre-market for the Dow and about 220 points for the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has stayed in a very tight range ever since, from call it 160 up to about 220. Last I looked, it was trading right in the middle of that, about 185. On the other hand, you take a look over at the Dow itself. the Dow started to slip. We got towards 220. We got a little bit lower than that. We started to perk up again, and we were up 400 points just moments ago. We slipped back about 375, but you get the idea. We are holding on to the gains, at least in the first hour. I always have to say that because it's a long trading session. We see a lot of things happening. 10-year right around 149. That's a nice boost to the upside. That's definitely kicking up. And matter of fact, you look over at the Dow, what's actually performing and leading right now? American Express, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all of those up somewhere close to 2.5%. Nice move to the upside. Crude, a great 3% bounce to the upside around 68. We're seeing that reflected in energy. Energy started the day up about 2%. Now it's up about 3%, having a really, really nice bounce back day after yesterday's punishing day. Matter of fact, you look at the financials up early about 1.5%. Now, last I looked, they were up close to 2, a little more than 2%. And that we can see that right out of the 10 years, just sort of that direct read. We look over at volatility index. Volatility was 27, as I said yesterday, closed. We actually pushed up towards 29. Today, we were hanging around 24 very early and then started to move closer and closer to 23. So we're seeing that move to the downside about 15%. Pretty significant. Bitcoin right around that 58,000, 58,500 sort of an area. So what's really moving today? And then we're going to get into some unusual. We'll get out of here. We got Twitter on a really nice move to the upside. We got Ralph Lauren, really nice move to the upside. You've got all those energy names that we mention all the time, whether it's Schlumberger or Occidental, all those names moving to the upside, those beta names, we like to call them. Also seeing a really nice move out of Chevron and Exxon today to the upside. Micron, Microchip, a really nice day, 3+% from those names. Matter of fact, take a look at Marvell as well, having a really great day. So the semiconductors living up to the billing of what they are in terms of how fast they really can rapidly move to the upside. They started the day up about 1.5%, now about 3% for the semiconductors as an entire index, the SMH. Chinese names, also a little bit of strength there with JD and NetEase, some of those names all moving to the upside. We'll see how well that holds on. And we've cut some of the losses of yesterday in half. We'll see if we can continue on that path to the upside after that big swoosh to the downside, 650 yesterday. It's a big move and that big spike in volatility that we had. So we talked about the financials. We also talked about what's going on with the 10-year. One of the names that hit right out of the gate today, Bank of America. That's number one. 45.41 is where the stock was trading. 11,000 of Friday's expiring. Today's December 1st. That's the third. So Friday's expiring. 46 calls. So just out of the money. Stock trading call at 45.5. These are the 46 calls. They're going for 18 cents up to about 25 cents on 11,000 of those calls. Next, we stick with the semiconductor in that world at least. Applied Materials. Trading around just underneath 153. We had a nice size buyer, 7,500 December 3rd. That's Friday once again. Friday expiring 155 calls, just out of the money. Those were 72 cents up to about $1.50. So seeing something in the semis makes some sense. Seeing something in the financials makes a lot of sense. We are really seeing a very, very interesting, very volatile market. There's no doubt about that. And we are seeing the volumes along with the velocity that we're seeing. How about the velocity of what we're seeing in volatility? Just absolutely been incredible over the last 3, 4, 5 trading sessions. Folks, have a great day of trading. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.